Polls opened in Russia this morning for the country's presidential election. People across Russia and the annexed regions of Ukraine have begun 3 days of voting to pick the country's next president. Incumbent President Vladimir Putin is expected to win and secure a fifth term. Meanwhile, one man was killed and 4 others were wounded after a car was hit by shelling in the Russian city of Belgorod. The city's mayor said that 5 houses and 25 vehicles were damaged in the attack. The mayor blamed Ukraine for the shelling. The Yemen-based Houthi group has issued new threats. The leader of the Houthis, Abdul-Malik al-Houthi, has vowed to attack more shipping lanes. He has threatened to step up attacks on Israel-linked ships, even those passing through the Indian Ocean towards the Cape of Good Hope. Australia will resume funding for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA. This is the agency that provides aid to Palestinian refugees. Canberra's move to resume funding comes after an almost 2-month pause. Australia had stopped financing the body over Israeli allegations that the UNRWA employees were involved in the October 7th Hamas attack. An Israeli army official has died after he was fatally stabbed at a shop in southern Israel. The victim was taken to a hospital where he later succumbed to his wounds. The assailant was shot dead by the official himself right after the attack. Police say the attacker was an Israeli citizen who grew up in Gaza. U.S. Democratic Party lawmaker Chuck Schumer has called for new elections in Israel. Schumer's comments came as he criticized Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Schumer accused Netanyahu of being a quote-unquote major obstacle to peace in Gaza. This comes amid growing differences between the U.S. and Israel over the Gaza war. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris made a visit to a health clinic offering abortion services in Minnesota. Harris arrived at the facility as anti-abortion protesters demonstrated outside. The visit is believed to be the first by a sitting vice president to such a clinic. This comes as President Joe Biden has made abortion rights a key issue ahead of the 2024 presidential election. Argentina's Senate voted to reject President Javier Milei's sprawling economic decree yesterday. Milei took office in December and used his presidential powers to roll out the policies. This included measures ranging from privatization to labor reforms. The latest rejection deals a major blow to the libertarian president's agenda as he tries to uplift the country's ailing economy. Senior Turkish officials met with their Iraqi counterparts for a security summit in Baghdad yesterday. The leaders discussed security issues including Turkey's operations against the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, in Iraq. The two sides also discussed preparations for a planned visit by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to Baghdad, which will likely take place after the Islamic holy month of Ramzan. In Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, unidentified attackers stormed a hotel near the president's office. This was shortly after a pair of explosions rocked the capital. The hotel that was raided is a popular gathering place for government officials and lawmakers. The terror group al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attacks and the raid. In 2019, the terrorist group had taken responsibility for attacking the same hotel. Senegal's top opposition leader Ousmane Sonko has been released from jail. Sonko and his key ally Bassirou Diomaye Faye were both set free. Supporters gathered at Sonko's house and at other locations in the capital city to celebrate their release. This comes ahead of the country's presidential election, which is now scheduled for March 24th. The Election Commission of India has made the data on electoral bonds public. It has received the data from the State Bank of India earlier this week. The information reveals several notable buyers of electoral bonds, and this includes prominent industrialists and companies like steel tycoon Lakshmi Mittal, Airtel's Sunil Bharti Mittal, and Mahindra & Mahindra. Major political parties that redeemed these electoral bonds include the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, the main opposition party, the Indian National Congress, and the West Bengal-based Trinamool Congress. A Tokyo district court has ruled that Japan's lack of legal recognition of same-sex marriages is unconstitutional. 8 plaintiffs in Tokyo argued that the country's current legal framework denies them marriage equality. They had also sought compensation from the government. The Japanese court agreed that marriage inequality was unconstitutional, but dismissed the plaintiffs' compensation claims. In climate news, a winter storm has brought heavy snowfall to the U.S. state of Colorado. This has caused flight delays, knocked out power, and shut several roads. Hundreds of schools and businesses have also remained closed in the state. Meanwhile, the same storm triggered tornadoes in the states of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. The tornadoes have killed at least 3 people in Indiana. Scientists in the Antarctic have warned of the spread of a deadly bird flu. The disease has been detected in local penguin populations. It was first found in seabirds on Antarctica's mainland last month. Scientists say the virus threatens several penguin species, which are already in danger of extinction. A major coral bleaching event has been unfolding in Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Researchers of Australia's James Cook University have found coral bleaching near 6 islands. These islands are in the far north of the Great Barrier Reef. Researchers say the corals are still at a stage where they could be saved. However, it would need ocean temperatures to decline. Presently, ocean temperatures have reached record highs. In Zambia, over 1 million people are facing a food crisis due to climate change. This is according to a report by the UK-based NGO Oxfam. The report says that many of the families facing food shortages practice agriculture. This year, most of their crops have been destroyed due to a severe drought. The drought was fueled by climate change and the El Niño weather pattern. A new study says that the plastics we use in daily life have at least 3,000 more chemicals than previous estimates. This is according to the Research Council of Norway. The researchers have found that more than 16,000 chemicals exist in plastic. Earlier, the United Nations had identified around 13,000 plastic chemicals. Scientists say these chemicals can pollute water and food, resulting in adverse health conditions. The host of this year's annual UN Climate Summit, the COP29, is Azerbaijan. The country is hoping to upgrade its emission reduction target. At present, it aims to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 35% by the year 2030, but Azerbaijan aims to set an even tougher target soon. Azerbaijan's announcement comes after the United Nations asked all countries to strengthen their 2030 emission reduction targets. The COP29 summit will take place in the country's capital, Baku, in November. The French Parliament has voted to limit the surge of ultra-fast fashion. The measures include a ban on advertising for the cheapest textiles. An environmental fine will also be slapped on low-cost items. The textile industry is one of the biggest polluters in the world. The sector accounts for 10% of greenhouse gas emissions globally. On to business and tech news. Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin intends to bid for social media app TikTok. Mnuchin has said that he is organizing a group of investors to come up with an acquisition deal. His comments come just a day after the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill. The bill could potentially ban TikTok in the country. The app will get banned if TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, does not sell it in 6 months. The US is reportedly set to grant over $6 billion in incentives to Samsung Electronics. This is part of the US government's plan to incentivize chip firms to boost production in the country. Currently, Samsung Electronics is building a $25 billion chip plant in the US state of Texas. The new grant is expected to help the firm expand beyond this project. The Elon Musk-owned firm SpaceX has had another disaster yesterday. Its rocket, named Starship, was destroyed again. This is the third time the ship has been destroyed during a test. However, there is some good news. Unlike the first two times, Starship actually completed most of its mission during this third test. It flew around the globe in an hour-long flight. The ship was only destroyed after this, during its descent back to Earth. The last two test flights ended in explosions minutes after their takeoff. The cryptocurrency Dogecoin's prices surged by nearly 8% yesterday. This was after Elon Musk suggested that Dogecoin could be used to buy Tesla cars in the future. After Musk's comments, the cryptocurrency's value reached roughly $0.18 or 18 cents. Dogecoin is one of the world's top valued cryptocurrencies. It is inspired by a social media meme featuring a dog nicknamed Doge. The adult content website Pornhub has shut down its services in the US state of Texas. This comes after the state's attorney general filed a lawsuit against the website. Pornhub is accused of violating a state law. The law requires adult sites to ensure that only people over 18 can access them. This week, a federal appeals court in Texas upheld this law. Electronics manufacturer Foxconn has reported a 33% rise in its fourth quarter profits for 2023. This surge has been attributed to strong demand for its artificial intelligence server. AI products, including servers, contributed to around 20% of the firm's total revenue in Q4. For 2024, Foxconn expects a 40% jump in AI server sales. Hyundai Motors and its sister company Kia will recall about 170,000 electric cars in South Korea. This is after an issue was found in cars' charging system software. The issue could lead to problems in charging a low voltage battery. Hyundai is recalling over 113,000 cars, including the Ioniq series and Genesis models. Kia will recall over 56,000 electric vehicles. Meanwhile, Hyundai Motors is also recalling over 28,000 vehicles in the US. This was after an oil leak was found in some of its car models. A US safety regulator has said that the oil leak increases the risk of an engine compartment fire. The cars being recalled include certain models of the Genesis G70, G80 and G90. Japanese car makers Honda and Nissan are reportedly looking to collaborate on electric vehicles. The partnership could be from making car batteries to even jointly developing new EVs. The collaboration is expected to help both Japanese car makers cut EV production costs. It has also been seen as a crucial bid to compete with EV giants like BYD and Tesla. British energy giant Shell is lowering its carbon emission targets. The firm's CEO, Wael Sawan, said that they have lowered their carbon emission reduction target for 2030. The firm has also cancelled its climate targets for 2035. However, the firm claims that it will stick with its plan to cut emissions to net zero by 2050. Moving to sports, let's start with cricket. Wicketkeeper batter Rishabh Pant has been declared fit to play in the upcoming Indian Premier League or IPL. Pant will lead the Delhi Capitals when the tournament begins next week. The Indian player has been on the sidelines after suffering a major injury in a car crash in 2022. Pant had to undergo 3 ligament surgeries, skin grafts on his back and thighs, and months of physiotherapy. Spinner Rashid Khan has been included in the Afghanistan squad for the upcoming T20 series against Ireland. Rashid has fully recovered from a back surgery that has kept him out of action since the 2023 ODI World Cup. Rashid says he is eager to return to the T20 squad as he looks to lead Afghanistan's spin attack. Afghanistan will face Ireland in a 3-match T20 series which begins tonight. In football, Liverpool thrashed Sparta Prague 6-1 in yesterday's Europa League match. The English club scored 4 goals within the first 15 minutes. The Czech club scored a consolation goal in the 42nd. In the second half, the Reds scored twice more in what was a one-sided match. Liverpool are now through to the Europa League quarter-final. AC Milan beat Slavia Prague 3-1 in yesterday's Europa League fixture. Milan scored 3 quick goals just before half-time. Slavia Prague attempted a late comeback with a goal in the 84th minute, but it wasn't enough to turn the game around. AC Milan are now through to the Europa League quarter-final. Inter Miami star Lionel Messi has sustained an injury on his right hamstring. The World Cup winner had to leave the pitch mid-game against Nashville on Wednesday. Scans have revealed that the injury is not severe, but the Inter Miami management has decided to rest their talisman. Messi will now miss Miami's next match against Washington, D.C. this weekend. In tennis, world number 1 Iga Świątek has advanced to the Indian Wells Open semi-final. Poland's Świątek was handed a walkover by Denmark's Caroline Wozniacki. The Pole was off to a flying start. She won the first set 6-4. Świątek was up 1-0 in the second set when Wozniacki retired with a foot injury. World number 2 Carlos Alcaraz has stormed into the Indian Wells Open semi-final. His previous match was against Germany's Alexander Zverev. Initially, it was briefly suspended after the court was invaded by a swarm of bees. As play resumed, Alcaraz went on to beat Zverev 6-3, 6-1 in straight sets. The world number 2 next faces Italy's Yannick Sinner tomorrow. In badminton, India's Lakshya Sen advanced to the All-England Open quarter-final. Sen beat Denmark's Anders Antonsen in a hard-fought match. The Indian took the first set 24-22. Antonsen came back to win the next set 21-11. Then Sen rallied to win the third set 21-14. He next faces Malaysia's Lee Zijia in the next round. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo has doubled down on the plan to use the Seine River for aquatic sports in the upcoming Olympic Games. This comes amid concerns over the cleanliness and hygiene levels in the water body. Hidalgo says that she is willing to prove critics wrong by hosting a pool party in the Seine this June. She claims that French President Emmanuel Macron will also take a dip in the river. The Paris Olympics begin on the 16th of July. Meanwhile, France has deployed its military in Paris. Troops of the French Air Force have been tasked to guard the skies over the Olympic Game venues. A special unit of anti-drone operators have been stationed across Paris. Parisian officials say that at least 15 high-tech anti-drone weapons have been installed across the city. This includes the deployment of laser weapons, making it the first time that such advanced weaponry is being used to provide security for the Olympics. In entertainment news, tennis legend Roger Federer said he got emotional while watching a documentary based on his life. The film follows the last 12 days of his career before his retirement in September 2022. The documentary also includes interviews of fellow athletes Rafael Nadal, Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic. The makers of the film are yet to announce a release date. Britain's Prince William paid tribute to his late mother, Princess Diana, at an event in London yesterday. Remembering his mother, he said that she taught him to show generosity and kindness towards other people. The event marked the 25th anniversary of the Diana Award. It's a charity that was set up in memory of Princess Diana after she died in 1997. Free birth control contraceptives were offered at pop star Olivia Rodrigo's recent event. She was performing in the U.S. state of Missouri, where abortion is illegal. Activists said she had invited charities to her show, but it was their choice to distribute contraceptives. Missouri State Senator Bill Eigel said Rodrigo should be ashamed of handing out abortion pills. Jennifer Lopez has cancelled 7 dates of her first North American tour in 5 years. The decision was made after a large number of tickets remained unsold. The singer's tour is part of her self-financed $20 million multimedia project. The project also includes her album This Is Me Now and 2 films. American musician Justin Timberlake has reunited with his former bandmates from NSYNC. They met during Timberlake's One Night Only concert in Los Angeles. This marked their first performance together since 2013. Fans were seen getting emotional as they sang along to the group's classic hits. Organizers have announced the lineup for the 2024 Glastonbury Music Festival. This year, Dua Lipa, SZA, Coldplay and Shania Twain will headline the show. South Korean boy band 17 will also become the first K-pop group to grace the event. The 5-day festival will begin in England on June 26th. K-pop band BTS's member V has released his new solo song titled Friends. This marks his first project after his military enlistment. The single is written entirely in English. V first announced Friends on social media on March 3rd. The sequel to the iconic K-drama Signal has been confirmed after 8 years. Scriptwriter Kim Yeon-hee made the announcement during an event in Rome. However, the makers of the show have not finalized the release date yet. Signal was originally released in 2016. It was inspired by real-life criminal incidents in South Korea. American comedy drama series The Bear has reportedly been renewed for a 4th season. The award-winning show is currently in production for season 3, which will premiere in June. The first season of the show had won 10 Emmys in January this year. Director Yorgos Lanthimos and actor Emma Stone's next film will debut in theaters this summer. The film, Kinds of Kindness, will be the 5th collaboration between the two. They previously reunited for the fantasy comedy Poor Things, which earned Stone her 2nd Oscar for Best Actress. The duo had earlier worked together in the Oscar-winning movie The Favourite in 2018.